Welcome to the Featured Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we are talking about Magical-Senpai. And it was my choice. And this also was a little bit unusual, too. They were not full-length episodes. The average duration was about 13 minutes, including the opening and ending. And it came out in July 2019, ran through September 2019. A couple of the producers were KlockWorx, Flying Dog, Avex Pictures, just to name a couple. It is based on a manga, and the genres were comedy, ecchi, seinen, and school. And it was 12 episodes long.
It's kind of interesting that they go in that particular order because in my experience with this, that it is comedy first and foremost.
It is.
And with a real close ecchi right behind it.
It was, they were married to each other. The comedy and ecchi were married to each other. Every episode you could say is 10 minutes if you exclude the opening and closing. Just 10 minutes of content.
Just about. Yeah. Although technically every episode was 3 technical episodes together?
Yeah. So it really makes me feel like these were meant to be in between, like maybe some commercials or something like that. Like you don't really have too much going on. You don't have enough content to fill up a full segment. So it just really needs to be, inserted there. Also, I feel like because I've seen more of these start to come up, I feel like they're kind of a trend right now. For the last couple of years, I've noticed some more actually appearing more and more.
Yeah, kind of like a gag. I've never seen one mainstream this hard, though. What I mean by that is last season it came out, last year, and it came out in a legitimate time slot as far as the release goes. It came out right beside all of the other 30-minute anime. I was unaware until watching it that it was only 12 minutes long. And when you look at it, it was cohesive, would be a good way to put it. It was definitely along a linear line. Thankfully, each episode, referenced back to the previous episodes, it did have a train of thought to follow, so it wasn't just a random mishmash of a bunch of shows or scenarios, let's call them, because a lot of them were very cliched. They're pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. There was some that were genuinely made me laugh, and there were others that just didn't.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. There were a lot of points in this where it really tickled my funny bone. I couldn't help but laugh. And at about 11 o'clock at night when my wife's sleeping, that's not really ideal when you have someone sitting there start bellowing in the middle of the night. But it was good. I mean, it's with it being so short, I feel it really played to the advantage for that as well.
Yeah, the comedic timing. Essentially, every episode was one joke. And I think 9 times out of 10, the jokes landed.
Yeah. It was definitely worth your while to watch it, even if it was just for the jokes. Now, they don't even name the main characters. Anything other than senpai for the female main and assistant for the male main.
That's how you know that this is simply a completely 100% diehard serious anime when the characters go into such depth as, you're my assistant.
Yeah. And it just really, really played hard on the fact that you don't know their names. And all she ever refers to him as, all senpai ever refers to him as assistant-kun. And that's it. And he's, for whatever reason, totally okay with that, despite the fact that he even points out several times he was forced into the pseudo-fake magical club that actually is no club because there weren't enough people. Yeah. And the opening couldn't have been better either because he's walking down the hall. It's his first day in the new high school. And he sees on paper Magic Club, fun. And he walks in and Senpai just sees him, starts freaking out and just starts throwing up. And that's your first interaction with her. She's not even doing anything. She just has killer stage fright and starts vomiting instantly.
Well, no, what she was doing, she actually nailed a trick, a rather difficult trick that you don't ever see again, obviously, but you find out later that that's her thing. She can't do magic with people around.
She can totally do it without people around. And that's kind of sad.
Impressively.
Yeah. It's really sad that she can't, because when you see her do it without other people around, it's like, that's really awesome. She actually does know what the hell she's doing.
Which comes into question a lot as you're watching this, because until you see her actually do stuff correctly, you're just going over there and you're, for the lack of a better term, you're just going, this girl knows nothing. Because Assistant Kun shows up and she explains the trick and he's able to do it. And they're trying to advertise the club to try to make it a thing. And he does the my pen goes away trick. And what was another one? Making butterflies float.
The floating the floating wallet. And she's in the background just staring at him, mesmerized by it. And he's like, yeah, this is nothing. This is just child's play. This is trash. And she's back there staring at him. Oh, I want to do that. How'd you do that? This is
amazing. And then she ones up him by going, I'm going to show everyone the magic blood squirting thumb trick. And Assistant Kun's going, no, don't do it. No. Because she doesn't have a trick. She's just going to break her thumb and have blood spew everywhere. And that's going to be the trick. Like, just curious. Do you happen to know how much 1,000 yen can actually buy a school kid? Like, I'm very curious. I don't know the currency exchange.
How much it can buy something for a school kid? I honestly could not tell you.
I ask because this character cuts up like probably close to 10,000 yen over the course of the anime. And I don't imagine you can use a bill that's been cut in half.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, it's 1,000 yen. I know 1,000 yen is roughly the equivalent of like $9 to $10. So it's still, that's
lunch money.
That's lunch money. But multiply that by 10, 20, or 30.
Yeah.
It adds up really quick. Like massively quick.
Well, the reason I ask is in her very first I'm going to cut the bill in half trick, she saves, if you can even call it, she saves herself the embarrassment of failing at it and actually cutting his bill in half by going, oh, look, it magically disappeared and now it's reappeared from my wallet. And then she's giving him the money. She's like crying. I can only imagine she's like, well, I can't eat today, but magic, yay.
And that's also the common theme all the way throughout, is that she is constantly flubbing up so bad, and everything, even if it's done wrong, she's trying so hard to recover from it, to where she's flubbing it or paying out of her own pocket just to make it look like it's normal, or that was all part of the plan.
Now, an ongoing theme is the Ecchi, which is right again, like you said, married to the comedy, for the fact that she is an extremely well-endowed character. I believe she's referenced to as a cow at one point in time.
Yeah, I think so. I really couldn't tell you. No,
Assistant Kun actually references her.
Yeah.
As being a cow at least twice in the anime. And she has a trick where she ties her arms up behind her back. Very simple to get out of. Yet somehow when she does it in front of him, she ends up in this like bondage situation where she can't get out. And somehow the rope that was behind her back is now very seductively tied all over her body.
Yeah. And that's also a common train all the way throughout, is that she always ends up in these tied up, boxed up, or something else type of situation all the way throughout.
Shirt soaked by either milk or water. One of the most blatant adult themed jokes is that she climbs a tree and to get pigeon eggs. And she goes, I was the best climber ever. No one's ever beaten me. And as she's climbing, you can clearly, and this is a running theme almost in every episode, see her underwear. completely. And to the credit, she never wears the same underwear twice. I was a little bit impressed by that. I actually brought that up to one of my female friends, and they were like, "Yeah, that's a thing." So that was a little bit odd to me, but that's just because I have like 12 pairs of underwear, and if it's laundry day, it's laundry day, But either way, they all look the same too. So
bringing that up, where she's in these very scampy clothes or very questionable situations across the board, they actually have this rated as a PG-13.
Yeah, there are no. I think there's no nipples, and there's nothing.
There's no nudity. It's all covered all the way throughout. It's covered.
Okay. Now they actually push the limit on this because they introduce a teacher who happens to also be her sister, who likes to fondle her boobs for some weird reason. Well, her sister is not well endowed at all. No,
but they also introduce a couple other side characters, Masashi and Saki. And
now Masashi is just Adonis, just straight the most perfect man ever.
At 300 pounds for a 13-year-old.
To his sister.
Yes. Well, she loves that he's fat. She loves that he's thick like that.
Oh, thick with 2 C's.
Thick with 2 C's. What's funny is she even says, "Look at those jello arms," and jiggles his arms. Aren't they so wonderful and everything? She is completely and utterly in love with him, and she makes it well known that she does, to where he knows that she's going in there stealing his clothes after he just wore them, or rummaging through his trash for stuff or anything else.
God.
It is like creepy how into her brother she is, but whatever floats her boat, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. But so everyone's got a kink, let's call it. And her sister's is she likes to. The teacher likes to dress senpai up into outfits that are more or less revealing. And under the guise of, she's wearing a bodysuit, so nothing's actually showing. And they do a quick change outfit gag or quick change outfit routine where senpai shows up and the teacher pulls a string and her outfit goes away, replaced with a really lavish dress. And then she pulls it again and it's a bathing suit. And both times she's like, no, I'm still fully clothed. I'm wearing something else. And then the teacher pulls the wire again. And then she's wearing pasties and she's going, no, I'm not naked. There's still that bodysuit I'm wearing. It's okay. Yeah, she's trying to, just like before, she's trying to make it like it's not a big deal and this is no problem, even though it's just falling apart around her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to Assistant Kun's credit, he persists the entire time.
Well, he tries to escape. So at first, she to create the club, she basically jacks his club form to fill out on which club he wants to join, fills it out for him, then takes it there. And senpai then is about to go in there, and that's when you're first introduced in the teacher's lounge, when you find out that assistant's homeroom teacher is senpai's sister.
Yeah. And in the same episode, they're like, I was denied, by the way. You need more people. And that's when I think they call him M-A, right?
Yeah.
Madara. No, it's not Madara.
Masashi. Yeah, Saki calls him Ma. M-A, Ma. But you're first introduced to Madara-san, who is a chemistry aficionado. And
she hates magic.
She does, because she feels it makes a joke of science.
And she actually does some pretty awesome tricks. Like she's able to crumple a bottle by putting hot water in it and letting it cool, and then it crushes like that. There was another thing. Also, I've actually done this. Really, really cool. You take a cardboard box, or if you want, you take a 55-gallon drum, and it's empty, of course. You put dry ice in there, you put water in there, it starts to foam up. when you bang on the side of it, it'll shoot out whatever shape you've cut into the cardboard box or a circle. And it's really, really cool. The dry ice maintains the shape either up, across, and it maintains a straight line as it's going. It's really, really awesome.
And she does all these really cool tricks. And that's the club also that assistant decided to join. And he could have successfully gotten away from the magic club, away from Senpai, but he decides to join there and then goes into the magic club because I guess he feels, if I remember correctly, he feels bad for her a little bit.
Yeah, he feels like she can't survive on her own.
Yeah.
So it's out of pity.
Yeah.
And the way that he describes it later on is she's a stray cat. And both Saki and Ma were looking at him. That's a bit possessive. That's not normal.
Yeah. And because this really comes up because Ma saw Senpai walking with a man. And so he asked Assistant if she had a boyfriend. Assistant's like, no, she doesn't have a boyfriend, at least not that I know of. And so they all decide to follow. And and that's when you see Assistant really start getting upset about her being with this guy. He's married. Is he going to do this? Is he going to take her into a van and it's going to be a porno scene type thing? And just like all these things start rummaging through his head, start really wild playing in his head. And then they find out, oh, it's her sister's husband and he needed help choosing out something for his sister's birthday.
Yeah. And the entire time, everyone was thinking that Assistant Kun actually had a thing for Senpai. And he's like, no. It's very much like if you see a homeless cat and you start feeding the cat, trying to take care of the stray, only to realize it's a house cat that just got out a few times.
Yeah. And everyone's like, well, that's not quite right. That doesn't sound right no matter what. That's kind of messed up. She's not a cat, number one. Number two, you sound like you were trying to take her and own her.
Yeah. Yeah, and they gloss over that because his response is something to the effect of, well, she needs to be taken care of. She'll die on her own or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just, this was an anime that was well done.
It was.
Up until, my opinion, up until the end, because this feels like it's just going to continue on and on and on. But episode 12, there's no closure. There's no signifying it's going to close. It's going to end.
Yeah.
She's able to work her way through her phobia of stage fright in the last episode. And she's able to perform a trick correctly, but she's wearing something one would consider to be risque.
That's not even the last episode, I think, though. I think it's like maybe one episode's beforehand. But I agree with you. And that's, as you know, one of my biggest things is it does not give it closure. It does not close it. It has a solid opening. And it does have kind of a story that you can follow all the way through. It is very comedic. It is very funny all the way throughout it. It has its points where you're just like maybe one or two episodes where you watch it and it's like, eh. But overall, it was a very well done show. If I had to critique anything in terms of the animation and how it looks, I would have to say the lip Fang, not the tooth Fang, the lip Fang on her face bugged me. I thought that was the piercing. No, because it switches sides a couple times.
Okay. So not a piercing.
Not a piercing.
I didn't. Okay. I just, in my head, I was like, that's a piercing. Fine. We're good. I thought it was a bit weird because her character didn't seem like the type, but it makes a whole lot more sense now that it's a Fang. Yeah,
it's a Fang. And it's not a tooth Fang because it's skin colored. Like I would be fine if they made it white looking like a tooth Fang, but it switches sides. And so you have this traveling lip Fang that moves from one side of your face to the other. That's one of my biggest critiques is that right there.
You know, I didn't find any animation flaw. now that you bring that up, I can't even say that's a flaw. It's just kind of endearing, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
my favorite part
bugged me. I mean, like I saw it, I kept subconsciously trying to wipe it away on my own face at that point because it bugged me. But you know.
You can't really do it that way because it's like when you're talking to someone who's got some spittle on their mouth and you keep wiping away and you eventually you're like, dude, wipe it off. But before that, you're subtly and then more obviously wiping your mouth exaggeratingly where, yeah, exactly. You're just doing it right now. And yeah, like I could see you doing that watching the anime. Like by the end of it, you're like, here's a towel, wipe it off. Well, you're not talking. Never mind. I see how it is. Now, one of my favorite things about this anime, about this aside from the fact it didn't take itself seriously, which I found very refreshing and very, very good humored and just good in general, was the fact that everything they were doing was correct. Like the tricks with the dry ice, that's factually correct. The crushing of the bottle using the heat as it cools, that's the expanded air as it cools, that's correct. The pen moving it around, hiding it, that's correct. The balloon animals, they show you the proper way how to make a dog. Like everything that they're doing, it'll work if you tried it yourself. So that was surprisingly accurate for me. Surprisingly good.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I thought was really well done is that they actually explained how the magic tricks are supposed to work and how it actually works. So that way, if you even wanted to try and attempt it, you still could. It's kind of giving you directions a little bit, not in depth, but just enough to kind of wet your beak, so to speak.
But I found that they only tell you how it's done when assistant is doing it.
Or when she's trying to do a new trick.
Yeah. My funniest new trick version of where she actually made it work was when she was like, all right, I'm going to wrap myself in these chains, close this, and I'm going to do something. And you're automatically assuming she's going to take off the chains. No, she disappears. And he's like, where'd she go? Oh, well, I can't find her deuces. And she's like, not locked, but she's stuck in a locker. And she was like, I'm going to jump out and scare him. And he'll be so impressed that he'll love this club and join it. And then she tries to get out and realize she can't. And he's like, she must have went out the window or something. I'm gone. Like he just didn't care at all. It was awesome.
Yeah. It was awesome. And it's like, almost as if he could have, if he wanted to, he could have like figured it out pretty quick. But
absolutely.
Yeah. He chose not to. He was like, I'm out. Deuces.
A reason to go home early? Okay, no.
Yeah. So I think we pretty much talked about everything that we can for this one.
Yeah.
So
surprisingly, it wasn't that content filled, but I'm surprised it was as enjoyable as it was.
Yeah. So on a scale of up to 10, how would you rate it, sir?
9 if I had to, because this is something I'd recommend to somebody else. And this is something I wouldn't mind watching again. I did watch it both in the subbed and the dubbed, and I'm not typically impressed with the dub, but they made it just as funny. So if you've seen the sub and you follow along, if you just listen to the dub, you can still visualize what's going on. It's that good. What about you?
I would give it an 8. Nice solid 8. The point deduction is because of my absolute love for closed endings. I hate that they left it so open. It's as if they decided to cut it off halfway through it and go, yeah, all right, we're done.
Yeah, I know what you mean. This would be perfect for a 24 episode run.
Yeah.
Perfect.
For a full length episode as well.
I don't know if I could go that route with you, only because the way they did it was campy.
It was.
I wouldn't binge this because I would get tired of the stop gags. But realistically speaking, like I could handle 2.5 hours of this, no problem. Anything more than that, I might get tired. But at a time,
it's great as a filler. If you need something to kind of fill your in between moments, this would be great for it. And the time for it is perfect for that too.
Yeah, it doesn't take up much at all.
So next week is your choice.
Next week is my choice. All right, so my choice will be Triage X. It is an action adventure drama ecchi shonen. Looks like its release date was April 2015, the spring season. Rating is mature, 10 episodes long, 23 minutes each. It looks like it's sourced from a manga, not a... Looks kind of interesting. Let's see how it goes.
All right, sounds good to me. Well, if you've seen next week's choice or the choice from any of the previous weeks or even today's choice, which was Magic-Senpai, feel free to let us know what you thought of it, if you felt like we missed anything, or if you have a recommendation as to what we should watch next, feel free to let us know. You can email us at featuredanimepodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at @thoseanimeguys. And if you want, you can even join our public Discord. Link for that is in the show notes. And we even have a voicemail link for you. So if you want to leave a voicemail, feel free to do so. That is also in the show notes. Until next time, I'm Jack.
And I'm Rick. We'll see you later.